Don't do nothing, my food. A pleasant good afternoon and welcome. A pleasant good afternoon and welcome to Focal News Summary, bringing you 15 minutes of the top stories, sharp and straight to the point. I'm Priscilla George on top of today's presentation, and here's what's making headlines across Liberia and around the world. President Bouaka forms task force amid U.S. travel ban concerns. Blount County Rep. Muammar Bridge Mensah dissents on President Bouaga's executive order demanding national ID for official transaction of business. Says it affecting access to basic financial services. President Bouaga defends his use of private jets for foreign travel, asserting the decision is based on priority rather than waste. Prom suspect in the Capitol building arson case, John Yanti, taken to court, accuses government of inducement and away from home. Trump administration demands action from 36 countries to avoid travel ban. These and many more are all packaged. We'll take a short break. Up next, our news bulletin. Welcome back. President Joseph Bouaka has established a high-level task force to address U.S. government concerns that could trigger potential travel restrictions on Liberia. It can be recalled that the U.S. government has issued an ultimatum instructing 36 countries to introduce stronger diplomatic actions or raise visa restrictions. Addressing U.S. concerns, President Bouaka has chair of the task force is leading efforts with ministries and security institutions to identify the challenges and introduce actionable solutions. The tax is further tasked with responsibility of creating a swift work plan aimed at fostering transparent reforms in partnership with the United States. President Bouaka reaffirmed Liberia's commitment to good governance and strong U.S. relations, promising the tax is further taxed with the responsibility of creating a swift work plan aimed at fostering transparent reforms in partnership with the United States. President Bouaka reaffirmed Liberia's commitment to good governance and strong U.S. relations, promising accountability as the multi-agency team works to meet international expectations. Representative Muammar Bridge Mensah have criticized President Bouaga's executive order, which demands the usage of national ID for the official transaction of business, asserting that it is stalling access to basic financial services. In a communication to House plenary, Rep. Mensah alarmed over the alleged persistent delay experienced by most people in obtaining the ID, something described as embarrassing. In response, plenary has summoned officials of the National Identification Registry. The move is aimed at providing a clear plan for improving service delivered in the issuance of the national identification cards to citizens across the country. The invite comes on the heel by concerns raised by Blount County District 6 Representative Muammar Mensah over reported persistent delays in processing the cards despite applicants completing full registration. President Joseph Bouaka has strongly defended his use of private jets for foreign travel, asserting that the decision is based on fundamental rather than waste. President President Bouaka clarified that the usage of profit for essential purpose does not amount to wasteful spending. In an interview with BBC Newsdays, the chief of Liberian executive argued that such choices are made in the interest of the country and do not contradict his administration's uncompromising stance against waste. The report from the BBC asserted that President Bouaka, who summoned office in 2024 after defeating incumbent George Weah, campaigned on a platform of transparency, accountability, and good governance. A key message during his campaign was a strong stance against corruption, which he accused the previous government of failing to curb. One of the prime suspects in the Capitol building arson case has been arrested and sent to prison. Suspect John Yanti, upon his arrest, was escorted by heavy security guards from the Liberian National Police to the court. Authorities confirmed that he has since been on the run after allegedly committing the crime. Yanti is being accused as the key facilitator who allegedly received the money from Montserrat District, says lawmaker Dixon Sibo, and had it distributed among his alleged co-conspirators. Meanwhile, in a brief interview with OKFM, John Yanti accused the Liberian government of trying to bribe him in order to testify for the state in the overly hacked Capitol building fire incident. President Joseph Boakai has departed Liberia for Nigeria to attend the 2025 West African Economic Summit, focusing on regional trade and investment. He traveled via Aska Airlines on Thursday, June 19, and is expected to return Monday, June 23, following key summit engagements and bilateral meetings. The summit gathers West African leaders, investors, and policymakers geared toward promoting economic growth, job creation, among others. President Bouaga is expected to spotlight Liberia's investment opportunities and hold strategic talks with heads of state and business leaders to strengthen partnerships and attract development finance. The event, promised by ECOWAS chairperson Bola Tinubu, includes a high-level discussion aimed at addressing peace, development, and economic integration. The First Lady of Liberia, Katumu Bouaka, delivered a rousing speech at the 7th Merck Foundation First Ladies Initiative Summit, stressing Liberia's healthcare and education gains. She highlighted that 50 Liberian doctors have received specialized training through Merck Foundation scholarships, advancing skills in fertility, oncology, diabetes management, and pediatric medicine. Madam Bouaga also underscores Liberia's success under the More Than a Mother campaign, emphasizing on combating infertility stigma, gender-based violence, child marriage, as well as promoting inclusive advocacy. The Liberian First Lady emphasized the impact of educating Lindard program, an initiative that provides scholarships for marginalized girls through long-term empowerment, including the provision of learning tools. Madam Bouakai reaffirmed Liberia's commitment to transformative leadership in health equity, gender inclusion, and sustainable development across Africa and beyond. If you are just joining us, welcome to Foca News Summary, and here's a quick look at our headlines so far. President Bouakai forms task force amid U.S. travel ban concerns. Bon County Rep. Muhammad Briggs Mensah dissents on President Bouakai's executive order demanding national ID for official transaction of business, says it's affecting access to basic financial services. President Bouakai defends his use of private jets for foreign travel, asserting the decision is based on priority rather than waste. Prime suspect in the Capitol building arson case, John Yanti, taken to court, accuses government of inducement, and away from home, Trump administration demands action from 36 countries to avoid travel ban. Stay tuned. We'll take a short break. Up next is the continuation of our news bulletin. Welcome back. Liberia National Bars Association President Association President Councillor Bonu Vama has been named as acting president of the West African Bar Association following the sudden resignation of Usman Traore. Traore's brief leadership was marked by regional cooperation aimed at defending democracy and the rule of law. Councillor Verma lauded Traore for advancing judicial independence and human rights across the West African region. Upon assuming office, Verma pledged his commitment to strengthening regional legal collaboration and governance. In an exclusive interview with OKFM in Monrovia, Verma described the appointment of victory not only for Liberia's legal community but for the entire country. The LMBA president emphasized that this position demonstrates Liberia's emergence to the regional spotlight. Civil Service Agency Civil Service Agency Director Josiah Joker has revealed that over 3,000 Indian nationals are currently employed by ArcelorMittal in roles that could be performed by qualified Liberians. Speaking at the Liberian Senate, Joker linked the unemployment crisis to the continuous hiring of foreigners in non-specialized roles by multinational companies operating in Liberia. His assertion comes on the heels of ongoing investigations by the Liberian Senate surrounding the issuance of work permits to Liberians. The CSA boss has pledged his institutional commitment and cooperation with the Ministry of Labor aimed at addressing the influx of foreigners in the private sectors, thereby creating a level playing field for all. In a related development, the Liberian Senate is expected to conduct a major employment audit at the AML facility. The move seeks ascertain the employment practices of the company, ensuring that it corresponds with Liberia's labor laws. The Bond Students Union has expressed deep concern over the action of Representative Marvin Cole for allegedly neglecting library project. The union contends that despite laying claim to initiating the project, Representative Cole is yet to complete the facility after reportedly receiving US 50,000 from former Vice President Joel Howard Taylor. According to a press release, the group alleged that the project is being used for open defecation, something which they described as insane. The, the further alleged despite materials being available for the completion of the project, the lawmaker have diverted it for his personal use. President Joseph Boakai has with immediate effect suspended Abdullah Kamara from his position as acting chairman of the Board of Commissioners of the Liberia Telecommunication Authority. The release indicates that President Boakai's decision followed a report from the General Auditing Commission highlighting serious allegations of corruption and financial mismanagement. The findings linked Kamara to grave financial misconduct while serving as chief executive officer of Tama Corporation, especially in transactions involving public funds. In his letter addressed to Kamara, the Liberian chief executive emphasized that his suspension reflects his government commitment to transparency and accountability, adding that this decision goes without pay. Meanwhile, the Liberian leader has ordered Mr. Kamara to fully comply with the Liberia Anti-Corruption Commission and the Ministry of Justice to facilitate the ongoing investigation. If you're just joining us, welcome to Foca News Summary, and here is a quick look at our headlines so far. President Bouaka forms task force amid U.S. travel ban concerns. Bon County Rep. Muammar Mensah dissents on President Bouaga's executive order demanding national ID for official transaction of business, says it affecting access to basic financial services. President Bouaga defends his use of private jets for foreign travel, asserting the decision is based on priority rather than waste. Prime suspect in the Capitol building arson case, John Yanti, taken to court, accuses government of inducement. And away from home, Trump administration demands action from 36 countries to avoid travel ban. We'll take a short break and bring you back the continuation of our news bulletin. Welcome back. And away from home, the Trump administration has given 36 countries, most of them in Africa, a Wednesday deadline to commit to improve vetting of travelers or face a ban on their citizens visiting the United States. A weak and diplomatic cable sent by the State Department instructs embassies and consulates in the 36 countries to gauge their host countries' willingness by Wednesday to improve their citizens' travel documentation and take steps to address the status of their nationals who are in the United States illegally. Focal News Summary. I am Priscilla George, and thank you for listening.